Hey everybody, welcome back. Tex once again with the Intersect Open Source Office. I'm joined by Philip once again, and we're going to take another look at another one of the projects going on with Anastasia Labs. Philip, the floor is yours.
Hey, so today I want to talk about discovery. This is a trustless token launching mechanism on Cardano that uses some very unique architecture to get around a lot of the problems that are inherent in other solutions. So for a long time, one of the biggest problems faced when architecting dApps on Cardano is the UTXO contention problem. And this means if many people are trying to interact with the same piece of information in a block, only the first person's transaction will succeed and everyone else will fail. And there have been a lot of different solutions to circumvent this problem and build around it, but many of them involve trusted elements. And those that don't involve trusted elements, like order book solutions and things like this, often have to make some security trade-offs, because when you have localized information, then that information might not be aware of other events throughout the protocol. This provides a comprehensive solution to that using this linked list architecture, which is like an optimistic solution to contention. It allows many different people to all interact with the same state without running into contention issues and without making security trade-offs in terms of losing comprehensive information about the protocol. One of the big issues that we saw in Cardano was when new projects were releasing tokens, they would release them on decentralized exchanges. They'd create a pool on a DEX, and for a long time this wasn't an issue. But as the ecosystem became more mature, we started having automated tooling in the ecosystem to snipe these new pools, right? Which would be like essentially a bot scanning the network, looking for new pools, and immediately buying large percentages of the tokens on launch before retail is able to interact with the pool. And that means, if you're a retail user of Cardano and you're interested in some protocol that's just launching and just releasing their token, you say, hey, I want to get involved in that protocol, and you go and buy the token, you'll have bought it after these bots have gotten there, because they're automated. They don't have to sleep or get coffee or anything. And then they will typically dump, which means you bought it at a higher price than them, and then they'll sell the token and often make a lot of money at the expense of retail. So Discovery is a solution designed specifically to address that. It makes sure that you can launch a token and make sure that everyone who is involved in the initial launch has the exact same rate, which means, whether you're the first person, it's pro rata. Whether you're the first person to enter the launch or the last person, you will have an equitable amount of the token. So there's no unfair advantages for technical users or malicious actors. It can be botted or sniped or manipulated in the way that traditional launches can. And this is a great way to make sure that all the early investors in a project are playing on the same team, as opposed to rushing to be first, in which case you get an advantage over everyone else, and it becomes like a infighting between people who, from a high level standpoint, really should all be on the same team, because their goal is to get involved in that project. So everyone is sort of expecting the project to do well and wants to engage with it. Then you shouldn't really pit those people against each other in a race to get there first. And the protocol is, again, like everything else we do, completely open source. If you're launching a token on Cardano, you can do it for free. You can use Discovery and facilitate this sort of trustless launch and not have to worry about inequity or manipulation mechanisms. And this has been audited and thoroughly tested in production. And in fact, it's used by SundaySwap's launch mechanism. So if you launch a token on SundaySwap, this is what it uses behind the scenes on their launchpad mechanism. And likewise, MinSwap has used the same exact architecture in their new version 2 Launchpad. So yeah, a number of the most trusted projects throughout the ecosystem are currently relying on this infrastructure and this code base. Yeah, I really want to get this out there. Please reach out if you have any questions about how to deploy with this, if you have any questions about the security implications of it, or if you want to get involved in the process of maybe contributing or having some sort of feature request or anything else.
Now, I know you talked some about how a lot of what you're building is maybe like the foundation pieces of this here. Is there much for a UI aside from the README and the other documentation here, or like how would this integrate with other tools and platforms across the ecosystem?
So like our other open source releases, this is split into two components: this off-chain component and the on-chain component that we briefly looked at. The off-chain component is what you need to plug this into your UI. So for instance, if you have a website and you want to release a token, this is the repository that you need to interact with. You go here, you can import this as a NPM package. So basically, anything with Node.js or anything that has NPM, you'd be able to use this in. And you can just drag the endpoints into buttons, essentially, where you would want to interact with it. So if you have, a few of the examples, simple examples would be you'd have one button for people entering the Launchpad, one button for people withdrawing from the Launchpad, one button for people modifying their entry. For instance, someone committed 100 ADA to the Launchpad and they want to increase their commitment to 150 ADA. That might be a thing. And then another final button for claiming rewards or claiming the token at the end of the Launchpad when it's concluded. All of these are split into endpoints, and you would just, for instance, insert node. You can just import this function, insert node, and apply it when someone hits a button, right? So wiring this into any website should be relatively simple. In fact, later today, I'll upload an example UI that's interacting with all these buttons that you can look at and hopefully clarify any difficulty there. Likewise, we have this discovery service, which is the backend infrastructure for this. And it has comprehensive documentation on the setup that you need to do for the launch. So just like single asset staking, as an operator of this, there's a few things you need to do. For instance, you need to commit the tokens that are actually being distributed. So if you're launching with 1 million tokens, then you would commit those 1 million tokens using these functions here, this init token holder. And then when you actually run the Launchpad, it will distribute those functions. Everything is done through smart contracts, so it's completely trustless, and the correctness of the protocol is enforced by the contracts. So at any step, if you try to do something that accidentally might lose you funds, the contracts will not, they'll explicitly prevent you from doing that, which makes this extremely safe, even for new developers into the ecosystem, because it prevents you from making mistakes that might cause you to lose or lock your funds.
I'd say that's definitely what we like to hear is safe, right? Safe, secure, all of those good words. And for the new developers as well. I know tokenization is quite a big part of the ecosystem here, and so I appreciate you being able to share an approach that you have going from an open source perspective there. Again, yes, I will make sure we have all of Philip's contact information, or rather Anastasia Labs as well, so that you can reach out to them either directly or via the Discord. Philip, I believe you said you do want to encourage those technical questions coming back at you. Is that correct?
Yes, of course. Yeah, if you have any questions, I want to make sure that people do use this, right, instead of building their own. And the way to make sure that happens is to get rid of any blockers. So, if you use this and you're struggling through the documentation or the deployment process, or at any point don't just give up. Reach out, and I will make sure to help you and get that deployment done.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, let's make sure that we're coming together as a community, right? Well, thanks once again for tuning in here with the Open Source Office. Again, please don't forget, give us a like, comment, subscribe. Let us know how this is going for you. And we'll catch you next time. Thanks, Philip.
Have a nice one.